This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Narrated by Sean McKinley. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 13. 45 Ways to Cook Eels. Braised Eel. Skin and clean an eel. Cut it into 2-inch pieces. Sprinkle with salt and let stand for an hour. Soak in cold water for 10 minutes, drain, and dry. Put into a buttered saucepan, seasoning with grated nutmeg, salt, and pepper. Cover with sliced lemon, chopped shallot, minced parsley, and a few peppercorns. Cover the pan and bake in the oven until the fish is brown. Take out the eel and put into a deep dish. Add to the sauce 1 cupful of stock. Bring to the boil and thicken with a tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together. Boil until thick. Take from the fire, add the yolks of 3 eggs beaten smooth with a little stock. Bring to the boil. Add a little lemon juice. Strain over the fish and serve. Broiled Eels 1. Skin, clean, and cut up a large eel. Dip into beaten egg, then into crumbs seasoned with grated lemon rind, nutmeg, minced parsley, sweet herbs, pepper, and salt. Broil skin side down on a buttered gridiron, turning when done. Serve with anchovy or tartar sauce. Broiled Eels 2. Clean and cut the eels into 3-inch lengths. Let stand for half an hour in a marinade of oil and lemon juice, seasoned with pepper and salt. Drain, broil, and garnish with fried parsley. Broiled Eels with sour sauce. Clean the eels and cut into 5-inch lengths. Boil for 10 minutes in 1 cupful of vinegar and enough cold water to cover, seasoning with salt, peppercorns, carrot, onion, and parsley. Cool in the water, dip in crumbs, then in eggs beaten with a tablespoonful of olive oil for each egg, then in breadcrumbs. Broil as usual. Serve with a sauce made of 2 tablespoonfuls of chopped shallots, fried in 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, added to a wineglassful each of white wine and vinegar. Add 2 cupfuls of stock and thicken with browned flour cooked in butter. Boil for 5 minutes. Add 1 tablespoonful each of chopped mushrooms, parsley, pickles, and capers, and 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Garnish with lemons and parsley. Fried Eels 1. Prepare and cut up the fish according to directions previously given and soak for several hours in vinegar with salt, pepper, and grated lemon peel. Drain, dip into batter, and fry in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Fried Eels 2. Prepare according to directions previously given and cut into 2-inch pieces. Dredge with flour and sauté in hot lard, or dip into egg and breadcrumbs and fry in deep fat. They may also be dipped into cornmeal before frying. Fried Eels 3. Prepare the eels according to directions given for stewed eels à la américaine, sprinkling with shallot and parsley also. Let stand for several hours, dip into egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Fried Eels 4. Clean the eels, cut into 2-inch pieces, and parboil for 8 minutes. Sprinkle with salt and pepper, dip into cornmeal, and sauté in salt pork fat. Eels fried in batter. Cut a large cleaned eel into joints, and soak for several hours in cold water, to which salt, pepper, and vinegar have been added. Drain, dip in batter, and fry in hot fat. Drain on brown paper and serve with tomato sauce. Eels à la lyonnaise. Clean 2 large eels, cut into 4-inch lengths and remove the bones. Cook in equal parts of white wine and water to cover, adding salt, pepper, a sliced onion, a clove of garlic, and a bunch of parsley. Drain the fish and strain the liquid. Thicken with 2 tablespoonfuls of flour rubbed smooth with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Boil for 15 minutes and skim. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and the juice of a lemon. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve with a garnish of small onions fried in butter and sugar. Eels à la Virois. Clean 2 large eels and cut into lengths. Cover with salted and acidulated water. Add a bunch of parsley, a sliced onion, and a pinch of powdered sweet herbs. Boil slowly for 10 minutes. Cool and drain. Melt 1 tablespoonful of butter and cook in it 2 tablespoonfuls of flour. Add 2 cupfuls of white stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire and season to taste. Add the yolks of 4 eggs, well beaten and cool. Dip the pieces of eel in this sauce and set on ice. Roll in cracker crumbs, dip in beaten eggs, then in breadcrumbs, and fry brown in deep fat. Eels à la Tartare. Cut up the eel and cook in court bouillon with wine. Drain, dip in egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve with a stiff mayonnaise mixed with chopped parsley, olives, pickles, and capers. Eels à l'Indienne. Chop fine an onion, half a carrot, and a stalk of celery. Fry in butter, dredge with flour, and cook thoroughly. Add enough stock to make the required quantity of sauce and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with mace, thyme, a bay leaf, minced parsley, and curry powder. Strain through a sieve and pour over eels stewed in wine and seasoned with vegetables according to directions previously given. Serve with a border of boiled rice sprinkled with grated Parmesan cheese. Eels à la Normandie. Fry in butter a pound and a half of prepared eels. Add a wineglassful of white wine or cider, a tablespoonful of mushroom ketchup and salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg to season. Simmer for 10 minutes, add 1 cupful of white stock, half a dozen mushrooms, a dozen oysters, and half a dozen shrimps. When cooked, take from the fire, add the yolks of 2 eggs, well beaten, and serve at once. Stuffed eels à l'Italienne. Skin the eel, but keep the head on. Remove the backbone and stuff with seasoned crumbs, mixed with minced parsley and mushrooms. Skewer in the form of a circle, put into a saucepan with 2 ounces of butter, a small bunch of parsley, a chopped onion, 2 cupfuls of white wine, and salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg to season. Bake for an hour, basting as required. Drain, take out the parsley, and add to the sauce 2 cupfuls of brown stock, and 1 cupful of chopped mushrooms. Boil for 5 minutes and thicken with browned flour cooked in butter. Season with minced parsley and lemon juice. Pour the sauce around the eel and serve. Eels à la London. Fry 4 chopped onions in butter, dredge with flour, and cook thoroughly. Add 2 cupfuls of stock, half a cupful of port wine, 2 bay leaves, and salt and pepper to season. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add 1 large cleaned eel, cut into 2-inch lengths. Cover and cook for 15 minutes. Serve on toast. Eels à la Reine. Prepare and cut up the eels. Fry in butter with half a can of mushrooms and dredge with flour. Add 1 cupful of stock and half a cupful of white wine. Bring to the boil, season with salt, pepper, and a chopped onion, and cook until the eel is tender. Skim, take from the fire, and add the juice of half a lemon, beaten smooth with the yolks of 2 eggs. Eels à la Poulette. Stew the eels in white wine with carrot, onion, parsley, bay leaf, thyme, peppercorns, and salt to season. Drain and serve with poulette sauce. Fricassee of eel. Prepare the eel according to directions previously given. Cook in equal parts of white wine and water, seasoning with mace, pepper, nutmeg, cloves, sweet herbs, allspice, and salt. Boil until the eels are tender, then skim out. Add a little anchovy paste to the sauce and a spoonful of butter. Bring to the boil, take from the fire, add the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten, pour over the fish, and serve. Fricasseed eels. Skin, clean, and cut up. Cover with cold water, add salt, and minced parsley to season. Cover and cook slowly for an hour. Thicken with a tablespoonful each of butter and flour blended together and make smooth with cold water. Season highly with pepper and serve. Stewed eels with cucumbers. Clean and skin 2 eels, cut into pieces and soak in cold water for an hour. Drain, cover with wine and water, seasoning with salt, pepper, onion, and parsley, and simmer for 15 minutes. Take out the fish and add 3 sliced and parboiled cucumbers. Strain the sauce, thicken with flour cooked in butter, and boil for 10 minutes. Skim, add the yolks of 4 eggs well beaten and take from the fire. Season with red pepper and lemon juice, strain over the fish, and serve. Stewed eels 1. Put into a saucepan 3/4 of a cupful of butter and fry in it 4 small chopped onions. Add a tablespoonful of flour, cook through, and add 2 cupfuls of boiling water or stock. Cook until thick, stirring occasionally. Then put in 1 large cleaned eel cut into inch pieces. Cover and cook for 15 minutes. Stewed eels 2. Wash and skin a pint of eels, cut them in pieces 3 inches long, pepper and salt them, and put them into a stew pan. Pour in 1 pint of good soup stock, adding 1 large onion, shredded, 3 cloves, a teaspoonful of grated lemon peel, and a wineglassful of port wine. Stew slowly for half an hour, and pour into a hot dish. Strain the liquor and add a wineglassful of cream thickened with flour, and boil up at once. Pour over the eels and serve. Stewed eels 3. Clean, skin, and joint the eels. Cover with boiling water, add a tablespoonful of vinegar, and cook for 10 minutes. Drain, cook together 1 tablespoonful of butter and 2 of flour. Add 2 cupfuls of the water in which the eels were cooked. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt, pepper, and grated onion. Then add the eels and reheat. Simmer for 20 minutes. Add a tablespoonful of minced parsley and serve. Stewed eels 4. Prepare according to directions given above, using veal or fish stock instead of water, and adding a bay leaf to the seasoning. Stewed eels à l'anglaise. Cook prepared eels in half a bottle of port wine, seasoned with carrot, onion, parsley, bay leaf, thyme, salt, peppercorns, cloves, mace, and chopped mushrooms. Cover with buttered paper. Simmer for half an hour and drain. Melt 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and cook in it 2 tablespoonfuls of flour. Add a chopped shallot and enough of the eel liquor to make the required quantity of sauce. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add half a cupful of stock and 2 wineglassfuls of port wine. Bring to the boil, strain, add a few chopped mushrooms, a tablespoonful of butter, and minced parsley, lemon juice, and anchovy paste to season. Pour the sauce over the eels and serve. Stewed eels à l'américaine. Use 3 pounds of cleaned and skinned eel with all the fat removed. Cut in 2-inch pieces, season with pepper and salt and chopped onion, and put in a double boiler with half a cup of butter. Sprinkle with parsley, cover tightly, and cook for about an hour and a half. Serve in a deep dish. Stewed eels à la poulette. Cut cleaned eels into 2-inch pieces and cook until tender in stock. Thicken with butter and flour cooked together. Add half a dozen chopped mushrooms and salt, pepper, grated onion, and minced parsley to season. Boil for 20 minutes. Add the juice of a lemon and serve. Stewed eels à la canotière. Fry a chopped onion in butter. Add a pound of rice and cook brown. Add 4 cupfuls of fish stock, seasoning with red and white pepper, caver, and cook for 20 minutes. Take from the fire, add half a cupful each of butter and tomato sauce. Prepare the eels according to directions given for eels à la lyonnaise, adding a tablespoonful of anchovy essence to the sauce. Serve with a border of the rice. Stewed eels à la genevoise. Prepare 2 eels, cut into 4-inch lengths. Put into a saucepan with a sliced carrot, an onion, a bunch of parsley, 2 cloves of garlic, and salt and peppercorns to season. Put in enough cider to cover the fish and simmer for 15 minutes. Take up the fish, strain the sauce, and thicken it with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter to the sauce. Reheat, pour over the eels, and garnish with small onions fried brown in butter and sugar. Matelote of eels 1. Prepare and cut up the fish according to directions previously given. Put into a saucepan with 1 cupful each of stock and claret, a bruised clove of garlic, a whole pepper, a sliced onion, a bay leaf, and a pinch each of thyme, cloves, parsley, and salt. Take out the fish, strain the sauce, add it to a tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together, and pour over the fish. Matelote of eels 2. Cut 1.5 pounds of prepared eels into 2-inch pieces and fry for 2 minutes in butter. Add a wineglassful of claret and 3 tablespoonfuls each of stock and mushroom liqueur. Season with salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg, and a pinch of powdered sweet herbs. Add 6 small onions and 6 button mushrooms. Cook for half an hour and thicken with a tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together. Matelote of eels 3. Prepare 2 eels and cut them into 2-inch lengths. Cover with cold salted water and bring to the boil. Add an onion, a dozen cloves, and 2 tablespoonfuls of vinegar. Boil for 15 minutes, drain, dry, roll in flour, and fry brown in butter. Add 2 cupfuls of boiling water and salt, pepper, and fine herbs to season. Add a cupful of button onions, peeled and fried brown in butter and sugar. Cover and simmer for 1 hour. If the sauce should evaporate, add more boiling water. When done, add half a cupful of wine and serve. Matelote of eels à la Parisienne. Clean and cut the eels into 4-inch pieces. Cover with white wine and season with sliced carrot and chopped mushrooms. Add also the liqueur from 3 dozen parboiled oysters. Simmer until the eels are done and drain. Add to the liqueur half a cup of white stock and thicken with flour cooked in butter. Add 2 wineglassfuls of white wine and boil until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire and add the yolks of 4 eggs beaten smooth with the juice of half a lemon, a tablespoonful of butter, and a grating of nutmeg. Add the parboiled oysters and a handful of button mushrooms. Reheat, pour over the fish, and serve. Matelote of eels à la Genoise. Prepare the eels and cut into 4-inch lengths. Cover with claret or burgundy and add sliced carrot, onion, minced parsley, chopped mushrooms, thyme, a bay leaf, mace, cloves, and peppercorns to season. Simmer until done and drain. Add to the liqueur half a cupful of beef stock and thicken it with browned flour. Strain through a fine sieve and add a tablespoonful of butter, a little anchovy paste, a teaspoonful of minced parsley, a grating of nutmeg, and a little lemon juice. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve. Matelote of eels à la Bordelaise. Cut the eels into 3-inch lengths and cover with a bottle of claret. Season with carrot, onion, parsley, chopped mushrooms, thyme, bay leaf, mace, cloves, and peppercorns. Simmer for half an hour and drain. Thicken the liqueur with browned flour rubbed smooth with butter. Add 2 wineglassfuls of claret and bring to the boil. Skim, Add a teaspoonful of capers, a pounded clove of garlic, a little butter, grated nutmeg, and anchovy paste to season. Reheat, pour over the fish, and serve. Boiled eels. Cut into short pieces 1.5 pounds of eels which have been skinned and cleaned. Put into a saucepan, cover with cold water, add a tablespoonful of salt, 6 whole peppers, 1 red onion, and a cupful of vinegar. Simmer for half an hour. Drain and serve on a platter with melted butter, lemon juice, and minced parsley. Pickled eels. Clean and cut 3 pounds of eels into 6-inch lengths. Cover with salt, let stand for 3 hours, then rinse thoroughly. Boil together for 15 minutes 1 cupful of vinegar, 1 cupful of water, a sliced onion, 2 bay leaves, 3 allspice, and a slice of lemon. Put in half of the eels and simmer until tender. Take out and cook the remaining half. Let the vinegar cool before pouring over the eels. Green eels. Boil together an onion, a bunch of parsley, a pinch of celery seed, and a tablespoonful of mixed spices in a little water. Add 2 cleaned and cut eels with water to cover and simmer until done. Strain the sauce, thicken with butter and flour cooked together, and pour over the eels. Serve with boiled potatoes and cucumber salad. Baked eels. Skin and parboil, cut into 2-inch pieces, and put into a baking pan. Dredge with flour, season with salt and pepper, and add half a cupful of water. Bake for 20 minutes and take out. Thicken the gravy with a tablespoonful of flour rubbed smooth with a little of the liquid. Add a tablespoonful of butter, a teaspoonful of Worcestershire sauce, and add enough boiling water to make the sauce of the proper consistency. Bring to the boil and pour around the eels. Baked eels with tartar sauce. Clean and skin 2 large eels. Wrap in a wet cloth and simmer for 15 minutes in court bouillon. Cook in a liqueur. Take out, wipe dry, and cover with seasoned crumbs. Spread with 2 eggs beaten with 1 tablespoonful of olive oil and sprinkle with crumbs. Put into a baking pan with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and bake for half an hour, basting twice. Serve with tartar sauce. English eel pie. Skin, clean, and cut up 2 large eels. Cook with 1 tablespoonful of butter, half a cupful of chopped mushrooms, a tablespoonful of chopped parsley, a minced onion, a bay leaf, salt, pepper, the rind of a lemon, a wineglassful of sherry, and a cupful of beef stock. Cook until the eels are tender. Strain the sauce, and thicken with butter and flour. Line a baking dish with pastry, put the eels in it, and pour the sauce over with sliced hard-boiled eggs on top. Cover with pastry, brush with yolk of egg, and bake for an hour in a moderate oven. Serve either hot or cold. Collared eels. Clean, split, and bone 1 large eel, and season with salt and pepper. Chop together 3 hard-boiled eggs, a beet, a tablespoonful of capers, 2 pickles, 1 onion, and 3 anchovies. Add salt and pepper. Cover the eel with the mixture, tie in a cloth, and cook with a bay leaf for half an hour in equal parts of vinegar and water. Drain, untie, and put into a mold with aspic jelly or with beef stock to which sufficient dissolved gelatin has been added. Serve cold with mayonnaise. Eels en brochette. Boil the eel in a court bouillon and cut into 2-inch pieces. Dip into egg and crumbs and string on steel skewers, alternating with squares of bacon. Bake in the oven and serve on toast. Creamed eels. Clean and cut up the eels, and stew according to directions previously given. Pour over a cream sauce, seasoned with salt, paprika, onion juice, and minced parsley. End of section 13.